What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Judo and Street Fights 2. You guys showed a lot of love to the first video. I appreciate it, so I wanted to make a second one to continue the debate of the topic of, does Judo actually work for self-defense, right? It's a question that everybody, especially martial artists, want to know. Will Judo actually work without the gi, without the rules and restrictions that are put in place in Judo competitions and training and randori? Will it actually work on the streets? So I've assembled some clips here so you guys can decide for yourself what you think. So let's get right into it. The first clip we have is of a guy that is being apprehended by two cops. Looks like somewhere in South America, and he just hits a filthy Ippon Seoinage. Well done. Second dude, somewhere in a gas station. Looks like somewhere in Europe. Guy headbutts him. Does a freaking weird-ass karate stance. Puts his hands on him. Slaps him. Other dude showing a lot of patience here. Boom. Osoto. That's how we do it. Pins his hand to the ground. The other bystander helps out. Okay, this one's wild. So check this out. Dude tries to cheap shot him. And then he just hits a Bowser body slam. Let's watch that again. Dude in the red pants comes up and tries to soccer punt him in the face. They end up in this really weird entangled position, and the guy with the white t-shirt just says, hang on a second. This guy's on my back. Let me just jump up and land on my back. Who was it in the UFC that did that recently? Michael Chandler, I think, to Charles Oliveira. So he does the Michael Chandler, slams him, and then his homies start beating the crap out of him. But this is a good example of why Judo can be so effective in the streets. Because think about where you would get in a fight. It's probably somewhere with a hard ground, right? Or I think most times when you're out drinking, most places that people get in a fight are on the road, on the street, somewhere with a hard surface, you know? And I can tell you from experience, it does not feel good getting thrown hard into a mat, let alone concrete. So one of the advantages, I guess you would say, to Judo as a self-defense, but at the same time, it can be a con too, because you might end up throwing them harder than you wanted to. You might split their head open on accident. You might break a bone in their body. So if you're going to do Judo for self-defense, it must be controlled, and you have to have the experience and skill to not go too far and totally mess up your foe. Okay, this girl's doing way too much. Looks like somewhere in Asia. You can tell she knows Judo by the way that she's gripping her and moving. And then she just knocks herself out. So, let's watch it again. Gets mad, gripping her, moving her around. She was just overconfident, I think. And she just goes to sleep. That's crazy. So, looks like she was going in for a Harai Goshi or something. This is a cool one. I had a clip of this one on the previous video, but not the whole fight. So these two dudes, obviously Judo guys by the way that they're gripping up and moving. And the guy in yellow is just sweeping the floor with this guy. Hits a drop seo, hits another drop seo, foot sweeps him. His village is going nuts. He's putting on a show for the boys. Other guy, get denied. Get that shit out of here. Yellow shirt does one more throw, I think. Give me that. Ouchigari lands in a dominant position. Like I said in the last video, ideally that's what you want to do. You know, if you're throwing someone in the street, defending yourself with Judo, is land in a dominant position. It's one of the things that we're taught in Judo. You don't just throw someone, but you throw them so that you have the ability to subdue them and contain the situation and control them. You don't just throw them out of control. So that guy did a good job at that. This next one, dude tries to run up to his buddy, and the guy takes care of him pretty easily. Clean foot sweep on him. Boom. Get out of here, boy. This guy hits a Kosoto on a cop. Kosoto. That was a pretty good Kosoto. It looks like he had some training. Okay, this is a fantastic clip, because this is a fantastic example of, if your Judo is good enough, if you have enough skill and experience, the weight and strength division and height division, that difference, it won't matter as much. Judo is very much a sport of skill and technique trumps size and strength and height. And this guy proves that in this clip. Looks like a little person. Boom! Are you kidding me, bro? Clean Ippon Sayanagi. Even keeps his balance at the end. Clean Ippon. Gets the grip. Beautiful. Last clip. This dude hits a nasty foot sweep. Dude's trying to steal something from the store. Gets his hand on the back of his neck. Get out of here, boy. Not too bad. That's all the clips I have. Hope you guys liked it. Like I said, I love this discussion amongst the martial arts community. How will a martial art translate to real life, you know? Judo is very much a sport martial art. And what I mean by that is most people that do judo, they're doing it for the sport, for the competition. You know, it's an Olympic sport. Most people aren't doing it to learn self-defense. So it's interesting to talk about that. Will it actually work for self-defense, you know, without the gi, without the rules? And I like looking at these clips because they're very objective. You know, we're allowed to be very objective about if it does work by looking at some of these clips and seeing, oh yeah, it can work in a self-defense situation. One of the big arguments against judo for self-defense is a lot of people say, oh my God, you take his gi away and you take his judo away. You can't do judo without a gi. It's impossible. But it's not really the case, right? I don't think people understand how easily and effectively judo can translate to no-gi judo. You do still have judo without the gi. You just need to change the grips up a little bit. You know, instead of grabbing the sleeve, you grab the wrist, you have wrist control. So it's still possible. I mean, none of these guys in any of these videos had a gi on and they were still able to do judo. So it is possible. Like I said, you just have to find a variation of your judo by playing around with the grips. But that's it for today, guys. Drop a comment. Would love to continue this conversation in the comment section. You guys had some really interesting and insightful perspectives in the last video in the comment section. So drop a comment and I'll try to respond. But thanks again for watching. Hit the subscribe button for your boy. Catch you in the next one. Peace.